Start to allow more rather than less. That's the hope, you know. The hope is connection, right? To not be afraid of disconnection or the space between you and your life and use it for connection. Lots of you resides in your empty presence, not just your mind. One of the things that I hope you're learning from this class is that the same space in the center of the chest is the same space that's in the center of your head. And it's connected to the same space that goes down through your inner heels. This, in order to realize this like inward dimension in a way that's healthy, instead of just for the mind, right, is to integrate it with the body. That the body creates a sense of direction without thought for this other level of being or non-being that we all carry, right? So you're exhaling to land and to ground, and you're very gently beginning to locate where your body is in space so your mind can go to ease. So your mind doesn't have to be in charge of everything. Remember, your most faithful part of your consciousness is your body. It stays faithful to living energy all the time, as long as it possibly can. So as you like start to feel and give structure and feel, right, with your body, so this inward dimension doesn't have to be heavy. When judged by the mind, when the mind's alone, the inward dimension kind of becomes scary or something that has to be resisted. No, it's actually part of the solution. Brought to you by body, grounded by your body. So you soften your jaw and the inside of your mouth and around your temples, and you feel the skin on your forehead, right? And you let the vitality of your spine, of your grounding, make that space, help that space to have form rather than judgment. So feel your feet, feel your sitting bones. You can affect this space. So if you're sitting unequally on your sits bones, adjust. If you're pressing through having more weight on one hip, adjust. If you're feeling one foot more than the other, adjust. You get to be the expression of that energy. And then start to hit down and rise up, especially through your spine. So down through your sitting bones, lift your chest, extend from the inner groin to the inner knee, ground through the inner heel, create stability. As you follow the rise, as you integrate it with the down energy. The yogis will call that apana and prana. There's multiple direction happening all the time. Broaden between your shoulder blades. Bring that center of your chest more in balance with the room. There is no winning here. There is just congruence. Re-soften the inside of your mouth. Re-soften around your temples. If it doesn't throw you off balance, bring your hands into prayer. I'm not gonna, because it throws me off balance. But use your hands to find your midline. As you come into the congruence, gratitude. There's a midline. There's an up. There's a down. There's an expansion. Repose. Use your body for grounding to support the lightness, to feel the happening. These aren't just words. I'm trying to describe experience. Notice your breath. Make sure it's gentle. Let go of your day. Prepare your mind to do yoga. Good. And then release. Bring your hands down to your thighs, palms up. Take your sternum up towards your chin down over your sternum. Be faithful. Trust in your experience. Raise your head up with closed eyes. Open your eyes. So one of the things that I find to be in my yoga practice over the last 31 years, a paradoxical truth that if my mind tries to get it, it doesn't quite get it. But and especially when you're exploring in asana and trying to uncover or reveal to yourself like new levels of freedom, right? It's really important to believe in your own experience, right? But the paradox is that believing does in your own experience doesn't mean that you're right in relationship to other people, right? That like what it is for you doesn't mean you have to be an authority about it, doesn't mean you have to impose it on anybody, right? But that fundamental level of belief in your own experience and your ability to see wonder in your own experience is, I hope you get from me that I think that's the crucial attribute of a yogi, is to feel wonder and believe that your experience, even if you're, I can't tell you all the times my yoga teacher has showed me that I'm not quite doing something in asana quite right. But whatever I'm experiencing is exactly what my practice is. So I have to believe in it, right? Like, so it's not, and it can evolve and all that things can change, right? And that's the hope of yoga, right? So I remember to give you an example. So for me, there's a whole bunch of wonder when I, for the first time, really heard the instruction, balance your head over your neck. Okay, seems like a little thing, right? Like all of a sudden it's like, wait, oh my goodness, right? When I'm trying to be to something with the world, I come forward and I have to be something with the world. That's what you have to do to manage your disability, right? You have to be leaning in, right? But the freedom that occurred when all of a sudden I went, oh, wait, there's an alignment here this way, right? That can balance. And if I balance my head over my neck, it forces a certain level of inwardness that makes me want to soften the inside of my mouth, that makes me want to open the top of my spine. And then when I see that, I realize that I better feel the bottom of my spine in order to feel that freedom at the top of my spine. And that my feet need to ground that too. All this because I opened to something that I could just go flying by in my experience, right? In my everyday experience, I could go flying by it. I could never notice it, right? But the wonder I feel about such a simple instruction has only increased over time. It, if you think that yoga is going to reveal fireworks, no. It reshapes your awareness. It doesn't continually provide fireworks. You have to become a better listener. You have to become more open to what's happening here. It's not for the world to adjust to you. It's for you to realize your experience. And that's part of the big thing that yoga is teaching. So as I bounced my head over neck, so then I remember when I kind of got, this was like probably a couple of decades ago when I started to really see that instruction, right? And that I needed to support underneath it, that I wasn't balancing over my head because I was dull on my sitting bones and dull in my feet, right? So that this wasn't an isolated instruction. And then, this is what yoga teachers are for. My yoga teacher blew my mind and said, Matt, I was doing a practicing in front of her and she said, Matt, you're not including your scalp in any of your poses. I was like, what? Like, what the hell does that even mean? Right? So you live into the questions. So when I all of a sudden bounce my head over my neck and then remember to have a head, right? To actually have an outline of my head as I'm feeling the lightness here, my experience transforms again. Now, I can tell you in a lot of my day, I forget that I'm having a scalp, right? Like it's not part of my everyday experience or moment to moment experience, but it's with me all the time. And when I bounce my head over my neck and feel my boundary, I start to feel the hope of my body, the grounding of my body, the struggle of my body to maintain uprightedness, right? It's got everything in it. So when I tell you to do things like, allow balance in the whole room, feel your strength, your grounding, and yet balance in the whole room, I have to do things like feel all this other stuff to balance in the whole room. And it makes me smile that there's so much potential here, right? I feel bad for students that take the infiniteness of yoga and they feel inadequate because of it. Like they're never going to know enough. That's a good way to sabotage yourself, right? To convert the potential into negative judgment. That's what minds do. Right? So and there's a reason why Patanjali wants to quiet down your mind. He wants you to realize, the author of the Yoga Sutras. So just for this next 30 seconds, let your emptiness be full. Help it fill your vessel. Naturally align with the emptiness. And don't think the emptiness means you're not strong. Ground your body. Align your body. Right? That's what asana is for, is that your body can come in congruence with this realization. That's why we're practicing and moving. It's so you can realize it doesn't mind that your body has to struggle. All right. I'm sorry when yoga is presented as a miracle cure. It's not. The hope is different. All right. So balance more on your sitting bones. Right? Now, more overtly lift your chest. Figure out what this space should be. Right? Go down and raise up. Know that the poses don't end at the terminus of your body. Right? So when you're hitting down and going out to the top of your head, also broaden between your shoulder blades. Start to inflate the empty space with your effort. Right? Let your breath create a different kind of movement within your dimension. On the exhalation, I hope you figured out that I think you should expand on the inhalation and extend on the exhalation. Activate your spine. Fill up the potential of your spine on inhalation. Activate your spine on exhalation. Your activation, the mind only sees it at first vertical and horizontally. It's happening all at once. Mind cannot keep up. Mind has to practice to get quieter. So it can actually just experience. This is good. And again, because it's Monday, because we have a big week, I'm teaching all week this week, and my internet went out this morning. So I got a whole bunch of stuff on my brain, right? So I'm going to lift up and shake a little bit. Like, damn it, I want to be bouncy, right? I want to be bouncy today. I don't want to descend into heaviness. I don't know if you're in Minnesota, but I freaking woke up to snow today. That sucks, just so you know. So I'm gonna use my body, lifting up again, setting myself down lighter, keeping the spaces within me lit, right? Grounding my own knees and going, my space, right? Mine. I'm going to add my breath. So I'm pressing on my knees, keeping my base strong, right? Keeping my chest lifted, because I know, like, I integrate with the world around me from there, not just a thought, an experience, and I'm going to be strong here, right? But I don't want to overcrank my back. So right away, do something we always do to begin with, right? I want you to lengthen your low back. So now I want you to come forward and actually lengthen your back like it matters. Like, dang, I'm opening up potential for ease, for space. My breath is kind of interestingly asymmetrical today. So I'm going to sit for a second, use my asana as a measure to recognize that I got to breathe a little bit more equally in my left lung, untwisting a little bit. So I want you to take familiar positions and realize what's not firing as well today. And all of a sudden, I've already forgot my scalp. Damn it. Get to try again. I get to start again every single moment. Good. And then release. So I want us to move through gravity a little bit, right? So forward and back. This is the warm up. So I encourage you, like, I'm going to pop up a little bit. I encourage you to play with such changes of gravity. Find the ones that feel fun, right? So I'm doing one this time where I want to come forward and lift. Not too hard, not too much strain, but I always want to use my right hand in one position and my left hand on the wheel. I'm going to screw myself up as a yogi. I'm going to do it backwards. Now I'm coming forward and using this hand down at my side, the other hand on my wheel. Because the one thing I know about asana is I better practice both sides. Shouldn't fall into ruts. And then I'm going to go back to the one that, oh, I like this one better. Damn it, I got a favorite here. Didn't even know I had a favorite. Now I'm going to switch again and go the other way and go like, okay. I don't care if you even lift up. right? We can stay down, but I want you to move the energy. And then I'm switching back. Damn, I've obviously practiced this lift way more than the other because it's much more smooth. So here goes the yogi to work, right? I'm going to do a little bit more of this other side. So I'm deciding what's balanced in my movement. And I'm practicing the side that doesn't quite feel as comfortable, right? Good. And then I'm going to sit in the center. And if you turn a globe upside down and it's got all the thing and you wait for the snowflakes to, one of those, whatever those are called. Damn it, I don't know the name of those things that have snowstorms in them and you flip them over and they flutter all over. After you've moved like this, let it settle. Let all the flakes be filling the whole vessel before it settles. Use movement as a way to shake up new potential and breathe into that potential, whether it's through your nose or your mouth. Doesn't matter. Now, I already know I'm going to again start to stretch up because I want my rib cage for this whole week to activate. So I'm going to do the same way I always do. And I'm going to pay attention to the muscular change here, right? And I'm not going to worry about straightening my arm. I'm going to let my arm be bent so I get more of a physical stretch here, right? And then I'm going to go the other way and know that my left side, damn it, doesn't open as much. So I've got to figure out how to practice on this side more. Well, in fact, I'm going to put my hand in a different place, not use my wheel. I'm going to actually adjust because I'm different from side to side. So the yogi in me is going to figure out how to do one side differently than the other. And then I'm going to go this way. This way, I have no problem because my elbow can go under my wheel because I'm short-sighted on that side. On this side, I need to lean over onto a chair or something away from me so I can get the same type of openness on that side. And I'm going to go back and forth a few times. I might even speed this freaking stuff up. Why? Because I freaking want to lean into this week, for God's sakes. I don't want to be tentative. It's I'm going for it. I'm going to do the best teaching of my life this week. Or maybe not, but I'm going to tell myself that today, right? And I'm going to just feel that side to side shift. Now I'm going to go back and go, wait. I remember I taught a whole class one time at Courage Center about 20 years ago, having people practice jumping out of their seat, right? So it's funny to watch a guy completely paralyzed try to jump. Here's me trying to jump. And I used to say a Mexican jumping bean. Have you ever, isn't it weird when you see a Mexican jumping bean jump? It kind of jumps. So I would think about way down the, see if I could jump. Try jumping in your seat. Now that's the quick movement. Now slow it down. Use different speeds to find your body. Use different speeds to find your body. And I'm going to jump again, right? Now I'm going to add my hands again. Favorite side. I'm going to jump from my lower abdominal up through my chest, up through my mouth. And I'm going to use my strength to be part of that jump. Holy crap, that worked pretty good, right? Because I'm actually putting myself in service of myself, right? Wait, my efforts, And then I'm going back and forth again, right? And now I know, because I'm just instructing you what I need to be working on. As I'm doing this time and jumping and lifting, I'm going to focus on the bottoms of my feet. Because just like I forgot my scalp, I forgot the bottoms of my feet, right? So I'm doing this again. I'm going you mean all of me can actually do this stuff? Freaking right, right? Good. And then here comes the fluttering. I'm settling it back down. I'm using the flutter for an expansion to help my inhalation feel more robust. The movement is my ally. It helps me realize stuff. So I'm rocking back and forth and using more rhythm again, right? Thinking, man. I remember when I first started practicing yoga, I started to realize that I could still talk with my whole body, not just with my upper arms, right? And moving my hand movements, that I could actually, all right, we're about to just get weirder. Okay, so, and then release and come back to center. So here's one of the practices I used to do to remind myself of my potential, right? I think I might have told some of you about this or mentioned this in a class before, but I think my neighbors thought I was insane. Okay. So what I would often do when I was practicing a lot then, right? 3 to 4 hours a day, right? But I would start my practice by starting to clap. Like, right? And I'll think about all the things that's going on when you clap. I mean, especially when you make it more yogic, right? It was a way for me to come from an ungrounded position into my midline with both sides of my body. Okay, so without making a sound yet, and then take your hands apart, and then in, and then apart. Now, here's the weird instruction. Include your sitting bones connected to the movement of your hands, right? Now your whole inside edge of your legs. It comes towards midline, boom, lifts. It moves apart. So I'm not asking you to move your legs. I'm asking you to make sure your train is hooked up, right? That you've actually got, so I'm practicing. This looks weird and we haven't started making sound yet. It looks weird, but I'm trying to get my midline to be awake when two sides of my body are moving, right? And I'm trying to balance the movement on both sides with an awake midline, which gets touched when my hands touch each other, right? But it moves apart. So it goes back and forth. Can you get an action that you include your entire being into with your focus? Remember, focus is one of the limbs of yoga. Focus not being concentration. Concentration's mental. Okay, and then release. So now the sound, right? So the way I used to, when I started my practice, right? I got really good at clapping incredibly loudly without a lot of effort. Like, so I didn't get the loudness from smacking my hands harder. That hurt my hands, right? So I'm not going to do this kind of, I'm going to go, I figured out I can make more sound when my fingers and here hits the center of my palm, right? So I'm going to like, and I'm going to do a couple of sounds. That was a bad one. There, ooh, see, when I get the sound right, add your lower abdomen. I missed there. There we go. Ooh, the last one was bad, right? I missed it. So keep going on your own. Have your whole body come into midline. Ooh, do you hear that one? That one I really got with all of me, right? So by clapping my hands, I had a measure, right? And you got to figure out the velocity. You got to figure out when you try too hard, when you miss. Now to really piss myself off, always there's a side of the asana that you have to just work on. I like hitting this hand into this hand. It's harder for me to clap the other way, right? So, ooh, see, such a different sound. There, ooh. Ooh, I got it. Oh, missed it. Missed it. Got it. So my neighbor one time in California said, Matt, what's going on in the morning? Why is there this weird clapping sound in your, because the walls in California and Santa Barbara were really thin. So I was doing clapping rituals as the warm-up before I started practicing, as more important than brushing my teeth. Although brushing your teeth and washing your face is good before you practice, right? You got to honor what's about to happen. Get creative with your own yoga practice. Know that you're trying to coordinate discordant movements into singularity in a yoga pose. You're actually trying to make sure you're moving and connected to the unchanging. Ask yourself, when you got your best claps, were you, this is gonna be a weird question, were you more or less complicated when the clap was most successful? And I know the answer is less complicated, something simplified. And the times when I miss is when I get happy and judge, right? When I like get in there and get in, the same thing happens to your breath. So now I'm not gonna clap, I'm gonna move, but I'm gonna have my whole being come through my hands to the midline, right? And I'm gonna maybe swoop a little bit, find the lift, and have my hands reflect my sitting bones, reflect my heels. Everything's moving, right? Everything's moving. And then release. So one time I heard an instruction. So and I hope you realize that I'm aiming for asana movement that's more integrated with the empty space around you and empty space within you, right? So I remember one time, I think it was a body worker, but I can't remember, saying, move through the empty space, feel the empty space around you as if it was water. Like you were moving and creating ripples, right, through the water. So I hope you just saw in that movement, you see I'm pushing, I'm moving through the space, bring it into the midline and opening, right? Now I can't move my legs, but I could totally, it'd be great to be able to move my legs in relationship to this. Maybe you can. So maybe you can bring your knees together and farther apart as your hands swim through the water, right? Often when I'm teaching people stuff like this, I'm saying, holy crimes, we live in a cosmic soup, right? It's a soup. It's not empty and full, it's always full, right? So you're like trying to then come into midline and ground. But feel the soup. Feel the soup. Feel the soup, right? It's coming through you like a fountain. It actually is coming through you like a fountain, right? It always was. It always will be as long as you're alive. So honor it. Now, 5 more claps, make them really good. Find your center in your midline. I have to shift gravity so I don't fall over. Ooh, I made it on that good one. That one made my ears ring. Right, I hit it right on. It got me right to my inner ear. All right, so now with that sense of fullness, now I'm going to change gravity. Pat, you keep coming in and out. You must have internet problems, right? And then I'm moving through space and bringing this soup with me. Then I'm going to move this way. Remember when I was first practicing, there was a song by Trip Shakespeare that I used to listen to. Trip Shakespeare was a band from Minnesota that never quite made it, but the lead singer went into the Semisonics and got really popular. I feel that the world should come with me when I travel to the center of the earth, right? Back and forth now. Now up and over. There's the one that was the physical stretch. Here's the filling of space, straighten your arm. Now, I don't want you, so here's the order of operations matters here. If you go over like this and then just straighten out your elbow, you've missed the whole point of everything, right? Right. So over, as your arm straightens, your midline comes into attention. And then you watch it go out of attention. And then into focus. So you're using your body to help your mind's focus, right? Asana was about teaching focus, right? Where focus includes, and I have to switch over differently, where focus includes mind and body. So again, I've got this problem on my chair today, so I'm going to use another chair, right? So I'm going over and I'm feeling the physical dimension, and then I bring everything into focus when I straighten my arm. Kind of like making your whole body clap, right? And now I'm making sure when I go in and out of focus that when my arm straightens, I really feel my legs. Little actions showing me how to focus back to the center. So Alan, like, you can figure out what's worth paying attention to your arm or what's not worth it. Make the yogic choice, not the outside choice. Okay, so now here, focus, right? Here, switching gravity, focus, right? Making sure my whole spine is working, right? Because it's my spine that extends into my legs, right? My nerves all come through my spine, right? So I'm trying to, instead of like just reach through my body, I'm trying to expand in every direction through my spine to help my mind touch my body through my body, right? So I'm switching gravity to introduce variance, right? So my mind can stay steady on the underlying sensation, using the distraction to actually help the focus, right? The distraction of the bigger movement is actually there to help you focus, right? And then come on back to center. Be in the center. Asana is going to introduce variance. It's not just about mastering the variance. It's about using the variance to help you stay focused. Because that's what life's going to be like. It's going to get dramatic on the outside, and there's something happening in your inner dimension that never changes, right? Okay, so I want to include more of me in this, and now we're going to make the poses even more physical. The great thing about, for me, when I move like that, is I shake up the globe or whatever, and I don't have to be quite as physically focused. So I'm taking my legs apart. Ooh, see, now I want to show you. So I can already see something kind of hopeful. I'm going to drop my screen down a little bit. And I am not going to be able to do this as well, I can tell, but it makes me interested. So I don't have as much contact with my feet on the floor anymore. So now I'm going to try jumping, right? And it's interesting, right? Now I'm going to start switching gravity because I'm really happy that I'm taking up more space now. Got this plant scratching my ear. It's kind of fun, actually, right? It's okay that you have distraction in your house. But coming forward and coming back. Nothing's ever going to be perfect. I remember I was talking to my yoga teacher. So I'm coming back and forth. I was talking to my yoga teacher about, like, I really was having trouble having too many sounds going on when I'm practicing. And she goes, you got to remember, most yoga in India came out of and is now practiced where the sound of India and the sound of big cities is incredibly loud. And the air is incredibly thick and it's full of pollution, right? And then I'm going to lean over to one. And I'm just going to hang here. And she said, use the distraction as part of your focus, right? Help you hone your focus, right? So, in a way, the changes in gravity are trying to reveal a whole bunch of stuff, right? So I'm just, and I want a wider base. So my legs are apart. So as you know, I've been teaching Parjakanasana from this position, but a whole bunch of things. And I already know, and then come back in the center. So I got my groins open a little bit. I also know that asana is trying to make me move in multiple directions at once, even though my mind wants to follow only one path. So I'm going to go over and I'm going to open and I'm going to deal with this bamboo tree, right? So I'm changing variables. So now I'm going to come through. I'm going to find center. I'm going to go this way and open. And I'm going to start to build a moving practice. So that come here, feel the change in your sitting bones and extend out of both knees and come over, down, over, down, up and over. And remember, everything needs to travel through the midline, right? So you're trying to keep your sitting bones, revealing the empty space up through your corridor. So you're back and forth. Find center, push on your knees to help your mind stabilize. Take a couple of breaths. Give a couple of breaths. Give it back. Take it in and then give it back. Such an intimate exchange between you and the universe. It's incredibly intimate. And then bring your legs back together. I mean, it's kind of so incredible that you have to not think about it every breath, right? That you're letting something from the outside in and putting it back out, right? So sit up straight and tall, ground, I'm putting my forearms on my legs, right? And I'm just letting, and then balancing my head over my neck, feeling the whole room and letting the intimacy of my breath be felt. The symbiotic exchange between me and what surrounds me is essential for my life force. Yeah, sure, you're just breathing, but you're not just breathing. All right, and then that's the centering again. So now, again, if you can, take one leg up. If you can't, just cross them over, right? But I'm bringing one foot up, right? If I had all the time in the world, I'd put my other foot straight out on a chair. But now I'm just trying to change my base, right? So I'm grabbing. So even if it's like this, okay, it just means your mind has to be more supple to the change, right? This is just more drama, right? So I'm grabbing and lifting, okay? So I'm using this as a base or your chair. Your legs are crossed or whatever. I'm bringing my spine as I lift it, but I'm making sure I press down the one leg that's in the midline, right? So I come forward and hit down, and now I'm going to add movement to that, right? So I've got a different base, and it means that my awareness down my down leg, I'll call it my right leg, right? That awareness has to stay more on focus. in order for me to stay safe. But I'm now touching different places on my leg because I want to see the change between the midline and the change. And I'm moving back and forth and then coordinating your breath. How would you coordinate your breath with this? Maybe you don't. Right? Good. And then release. And then I'm taking the other leg up. Noticing for sure that there's a difference in my hips. Right? Right. And so now I'm using this as a new base. So now it's hard. I can already tell on this side, it's harder for me to feel my down leg. Right? So I'm going to like try to equal out and start coming forward and back and using the change in gravity to help my mind feel comfortable where my body is. So I don't have to be in charge. Right? There's a whole bunch of forward bends in different variations of leg positions. So you're practicing the very beginning of a whole bunch of poses. Okay, and then go back to the first side. And again, I don't care if your legs are just crossed and not up. You know, you might not have this type of flexibility, right? And so now I'm coming through the balance point and lifting my chest, knowing that my base has to be, my physical base is only 1 foot, but it actually is where my ankle's touching here, right? So I'm just like, and lifting my chest, right? And trying to use movement to reveal stuff. And then I'm going to make sure I feel this part of my base, right? And then I'm going back. Now cross your legs again or take the other side up. Oh yeah, I got to do this side, right? So again, I'm letting there be a change in base and variation, right? So I'm going back and forth. Lifting my chest, keeping it inflated. Now first side, so now with a base change, because all the yoga poses do is change your base. Now I'm going to try to twist, right? So I have my left leg up. I already know I'll have more resistance twisting this way than this way. So I'm going to do it the easy way first. I'm going to grab the straight leg, take the other hand behind me, and twist. I can be powerful with my breath and intimate at the same time. Good. And then be in the center. And then I'm going to go the other way, which is going to be, if some of you know the poses, this is more like Marichasana 3, right? Instead of 1. So I'm going to try to twist here, and I have to do more effort here. My spine doesn't quite know this one as well. It runs into more resistance. Inhale, lift up, exhale, revolve. The yogi in me starts to balance the pose, even though it's more of a struggle, right? I make sure my head is balanced over my neck and my scalp is included when I'm in the middle of a lot more effort. I become more whole as my effort increases. Come on back to center. Right? That's a big line, right? Instead of narrowing your mental focus to achieve something, you actually expand your focus to be more whole as you're moving your body, right? So try the first side or second side, or whatever. Yes, it's the second side. Right, so now I got to make sure I'm on my sitting bones, right? And I'm going to like know that I'm going to twist. Wait, no, that's the same side. Excuse me. Hope you switch sides. I just totally, no, wait. Now I got my brain confused, right? Oh, yeah. I'm on this side. I'm on this side. Do whatever side you're supposed to, right? And so I'm going to sit up tall and I'm going to twist at first away from the bent leg, right? So I'm actually grabbing my foot here. I'm using some leverage. If your leg is down and they're only crossed, grab your opposite leg. And I'm making activation in my spine. My effort's increasing. But I can still include balancing the head over my neck, bringing my scalp into the pose, using that to feel my base. Good, and then release. Right, and then I'm gonna go into my bent leg. Right, well, see, I'm gonna grab underneath it because this screws me up. Right, so on this side, I'm grabbing underneath it. And I'm twisting. Hitting down, rising up, twisting. Elongate as you twist. In order to elongate, push down through the down foot. Let the energy make your spine rise before it twists. Good, and then release. Come back into center. Come forward. So I've got my hands on each leg. It's helping me feel where each foot and heel is. Each side of my torso, and now I'm gonna lift my chest a little bit. Drop my shoulder blades. So this is like cobra pose. In order to even make it more, I'm extending my fingers. Because my fingers, I want my fingers, the spreading of my fingers, to match the spreading of my rib cage. Right? Because I've learned how to clap equally on both sides. I've learned how to include all of me better today because I started with clapping. Good, and then release. So the idea of everything coming into focus, right, allows me to extend my hands, and maybe for you it's your toes, and open my rib cage as I back bend. Right, so here I'm coming forward again. I'm grounding, I'm rising up. I want my rib cage part of cobra. So I'm gonna spread my fingers, drop my shoulder blades down, feel my sitting bones and my inner heels, and make all of me do cobra pose. It's not because I'm imagining it. It's because I'm activating the subtle body. Good, and then release. When I'm forward like that, I feel like my voice has to get more intense, it's more effort, right? It's kind of the opposite when I do it the other way and open over my chair, right? So I'm gonna go more open, more expansive. But still find my whole body. Good, and then release. Does anyone find that that it's harder to stay focused with your whole body when you're doing the back bend? Yeah. And so yogis will say things like forward bends make you go inward because you're actually moving gravity in a way and taking your mind and having it come forward even when you're rising up, right? So it's a different energy than this energy. And you need both. You come forward, ground. This is why sun salutation is such a profound sequence. You're here, you're activating from the earth, then you're pivoting up and over. And do this a couple times and include all of you, like when you were clapping. Forward, up, over. All right, and then come back into center. And I'm going to do it first with both arms, but I know it's going to be better for me and my consciousness if I do it one arm at a time. So this is going to sound barfy, and I apologize, right? Take in the whole world. Let it come right. Touch every, even in the empty space over here, it's a cosmic soup. Take it all in. Feel with the palm of your hands. Touch the empty space. Lift your chest. Good, and then release. Now, you can either do both-handed again or one hand at a time. I get more activation here, but it means this shoulder blade has to work and some things have to happen. I want to touch all the space and remind myself that I'm in a cosmic soup, right? It's not empty. It never was, right? My mind has a hard time believing that, and then go the other way, right? And just like be and move through the opening, right? And then come back into center. Running a little long. I just looked at the clock. Sorry about that, but I do want to teach Shavasana, so stay on if you can. So sit up straight and tall, practice some symmetry. Before you let the empty space in the room help you land in Shavasana. Like go back through, I like backing out of a room after I stepped in it. So I want you to like balance your head over your neck, include your scalp, feel your sitting bones. Let go to the support of your chair. Nourish. The great thing about Shavasana is you don't actually have to drink because the groundwater seeps into you. Soften around the temples, the jaw, the inside of the mouth. Feel your breath. Don't change it. Thank your body. Thank the container. Start to bring yourself back, slightly deeper inhalation. Slightly longer exhalation. When you're ready, open your eyes slowly and then close them. And then open them again. I'm a huge, I've been in my life for a long years, probably coming up on 40, a huge Talking Heads fan. Okay. And there's a great album they have called Remain in Light. Okay. And one of the lines from one of the songs, he's describing someone I think that he's watching at a nightclub or something or paying attention to, and says she moves to describe the world. And that your movement is a description, right? So it's worth getting smoother, right? Your movements pay honor to what's here, right? And I love the idea that my movements should be expressive, not just precise, right? That I actually, and that keeps my scalp participating, my head, my balance participating, is when I remember that actually grace is needed here, right? All right, everybody. There's going to be a Team Adaptables meeting on Friday after I'm done teaching this week. We'll do something fun. I liked the last one. I don't know if anyone else did, but I did. So that's about all I can do. But it'll be fun. We'll do something. I might call on someone to tell a story, so beware. All right. Have a wonderful week. And I plan to see some of you on Friday, if not next Monday. Namaste, everybody. Spirit in me, Buzz, the spirit in you.